Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. Today's topic is going to be class scheduling, and when it comes to those APs, what are the APs that are non-negotiables for highly selective colleges? All right, let's go. Welcome to Office Hours on Wheels. I'm Lilly Slater, your college admissions coach at College Driven, where I share insights and strategies to help you navigate the road to college successfully. First, let's talk about class scheduling. I know that is either what you're going through right now or what you have gone through in these past couple weeks. So schedule is very important, okay? And scheduling for high school actually starts around 8th grade, right? Because with where you need to end up, everything has prerequisites, so you want to make sure that you've scheduled properly throughout the 4 years. If not, you might have to take a summer class or two just to catch you up on the path that you should be ending with. So let's talk about APs versus regular classes versus honors classes versus college credit plus classes. If there was going to be a hierarchy that you needed to define in what highly selective colleges like to see, I think that hierarchy of rigor that they're looking for, obviously you have the regular classes at the bottom, right? Then above that, you have an honors class. So honors is better than regular. And above that, you actually have CCP classes. So college credit plus classes are better than honors courses. And then at the very top of the pyramid, the king of the hill, are AP classes. Now, there is a caveat to this, right? Is that I'm saying APs are at the very top with college credit plus underneath. But when it comes to deciding between the two, what it really does come down to is the individual student and how they are as a test taker. So if you are a phenomenal test taker, then take the AP class. If you are not a phenomenal test taker, but you still want that rigor and that challenge, you want to demonstrate that to colleges, then obviously you can take the College Credit Plus class. So the College Credit Plus class, you can get a B or a C in it and still get the credit transferred over to the college typically. But if you take an AP class and you are taking that AP class and you're doing all the work required for it and you get to that AP exam and you get a 2, you've really done nothing for yourself, honestly, when it comes to, demonstrating that you know the material. So what is the deal with College Credit Plus versus AP? Another reason why I put it at the very top is because when it comes to College Credit Plus classes, it's not vetted, okay? Depending on where you take the class, depending on the teacher that might be teaching it within your school, that varies school to school. But when you take an AP course and you go and take that AP exam, then everybody is taking the exact exam nationally across the board. So when you get a 3 or a 4 on an AP exam, you can actually compare that person in Massachusetts to the person in California, to the person in Hawaii, to the person in Florida, to the person in Ohio. That 3 or 4 or 5, those scores mean something. And it's the same across the board because that exam is vetted. Now, the AP course may not be consistent with every single school, with every single course. That's why sometimes you get a person who scored an A+ during the entire year taking that AP exam, and yet they only scored a 3 on the exam, the AP exam itself. Why? Because maybe that teacher was an easy teacher to grade. But that exam really does show how well you know the material. So, I mean, unless you are a poor test taker, why would you take an AP class? Okay, if you're a good test taker, take the AP. So now that we have that established, college credit plus versus AP, if you're a bad test taker, CCP. If you're a great test taker, AP, right? And why colleges like to see APs. Then the other question that you should be asking yourself is, how many APs should I be taking? And when it comes to that question, it really depends on what your school is offering. So there's something called the high school profile report, and every school has one. It's the document that gives the ability for college reps to be able to compare each student, number one, at that particular high school amongst their peers, and also compare those applicants at that school to the rest of the high schools in the country that have also applied, okay? Because what I mean by that is they're going to look at what was offered at your school in opportunity of academics, and then they're going to look at your transcript and say, how well did you take advantage of the rigor and challenge available to you at the school? So if you're looking at highly selective colleges, I would say minimally, you should be at 50+% of APs. If that's the route you're going, AP classes, you should do at least 50% APs of what your school offers. That really means that you took advantage of the rigor. I mean, more the merrier. So when it comes to that, that is really what you should be doing, okay? Now, which APs? I kind of have a general rule on, if you're going to do the AP route, what APs should you have on your transcript that are non-negotiables, really, for many of these highly selective colleges. So one of the APs that they like to see on your transcript that frankly is a non-negotiable is APUSH. APUSH, AP US History, it's one of those courses where, believe it or not, it's one of the harder courses in AP to take. So APUSH is one of the courses. The second course is either AP English, either Lang or Lit. With the onslaught of these AP capstone opportunities, taking seminar in research, and research being under the English heading, that has changed a bit about taking both AP Lit and AP Lang. There just isn't enough time for many of the high school students to do all of it. So I've changed that rule with me a bit, in the sense of, go ahead and take AP Seminar and AP Research if you really want to. However, you should also be taking either AP Lang or AP Lit. You don't have to take both in this landscape right now of what we're in. But that is a necessary evil, is that you have to take some kind of an AP English. Even if you have already gone for the AP capstone of AP Seminar or AP Research, okay? So be sure that that second AP English is also on your transcript. The third AP that I think is extremely important to have on your transcript is AP Physics, if you're going into business, or if you're just going, liberal arts. That AP Physics, and I'm not talking AP Physics C, the calculus one, if you're doing business and you don't feel that math is your strong suit, then just doing the AP Physics is well and good. What AP Physics is going to do, especially for the business majors out there, is, number one, it will show rigor. But secondly, colleges like to see that AP Physics because it's not so much about learning about Newton's laws and all of that. What it really is about is you're developing critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. So that is an extremely important skill to have if you're going really to any major, but especially for business. So I know it seems a bit peculiar that if you're not going into engineering, why would you take AP Physics? But if you're going into business, that's the reason. Those skills set of problem solving and critical thinking. Okay, so that's the third one. The fourth one is AP Calculus. Now there's AB and there's BC. So if you are doing an AP Calculus, what you have to understand is that this takes some planning, all right? Every school has this roadmap, this pathway to, if you want to take AP Calculus before graduating from high school, you need to plan for that. If you haven't taken Algebra 1 in 8th grade, then you're going to have some catching up to do, because Algebra 1, 8th grade, Algebra 2 in 9th grade, or geometry, and then you're going to go into either Algebra 2 or geometry the third year, depending on which one you took the previous year. And then junior year, you're going to take pre-calculus, okay? Now, you may even be ahead of the curve there. Now, if you have an honors pre-calculus class, but you don't have an AP pre-calculus class, I still suggest go ahead, take the honors pre-calculus, the highest level that your school has, and then you can still sit for the AP pre-calculus exam. You may have to learn the nomenclature used by College Board for the pre-calculus exam, but absolutely doable, and talk with your teacher about that, only because you're already taking the honors pre-calc. There's no reason why you can't earn another AP score, and if it's 3 or 4, you may even earn the honors of AP Scholar with honor, or AP Scholar with distinction, which looks really, really great in the honors section of the Common Application, okay? So that's going to take some planning. If you're not going to get to that point of taking AP Calculus, then I recommend that you catch up to that path by taking a math during the summer. So if you want to take geometry over the summer, highly recommend. If you did well in Algebra 1 and you need to still catch up, I would say go ahead and take Algebra 2 during the summer. What I do not recommend you do is taking a pre-calculus class during the summer. Summer courses, to check that box to get back on the path, are usually very time constrained. You're getting a whole year in a matter of weeks, and if you are going to do that on any of the maths, the one math that I suggest you don't do it with is pre-calculus, because that is the foundation for all of your other calculus. So given that train of thought, it is either Algebra 2 or geometry that I would suggest that you take. And even geometry, it's a bit of a different beast. So if you can get that done during summer, and if that gets you on the path to do AP Calculus senior year, then I would do it. Now, a little bit more about the math. Okay, so if you are on this wave of AP Calculus, if you know that your path is good on that, then the next question is, do you take AB or do you take BC? So typically the way it runs is that BC is more for the engineering bound majors, the STEM majors, whereas AB is more business students, more pre-law, liberal arts majors. That is the general rule. However, please check with your school. There is a school here in my area where you have the option to take AB or BC. However, you may be a junior taking that AP Calculus course. If that's the case, then what are you going to do senior year, right? So if your school has multivariate, right? If calculus, the calculus 1 college or calculus 2, even going beyond that, differential equations, right? If your high school has that offering, please check your prerequisites, because for those really high level courses that you can still take in high school that are offered by your school, your particular school, there may be a prerequisite that says if you've taken AP Calculus AB, you are not worthy of taking those higher level maths. That the prerequisite for those maths may very well be AP Calculus BC. So consider that when you're deciding between AB, BC, and what level of path you're at by the time you get to senior year. Many of my clients who take AP Calculus AB, they have not yet taken AP Stats. So even I don't want to say the worst of the math students that I have, it's not so much that as it is applying yourself to the work. But, you know, some of my less strong math students, because they wanted to go into business school, trying to get into the business college, obviously that path led them to taking AP Calculus senior year, but they went ahead and did the AB, which is perfectly fine for pre-business majors, but they also took simultaneously AP Stats, and even those students did very well with taking those two simultaneously. To be honest with you, I don't know how you teach stats without understanding calculus. I do not understand that at all. I don't understand why they're offering stats at a lower grade when you don't even have calculus. So whatever stats schools like that are teaching, I don't understand it, because stats and calculus do go hand in hand. So that's just my little pet peeve, my little opinion. So there we are on that. So we've got all of that, okay? Like I said, you're going to have to plan out the math portion of things, right? Then the fifth AP that I would recommend is what interests you, right? What actually interests you? And is there an AP class for that? Are you a music person? Have you been in band? Have you played piano in your earlier years? If that's the case, highly selective colleges love to see AP Music Theory. In fact, University of Chicago recommends it. And again, it's not even about the music portion as it is about what kind of mind is able to do well in music theory, right? So it goes way beyond just academics and the subject. If you love art, then take AP 2D art or 3D art or history, art history, right? That last AP that we're talking about should reflect something that's really feeding a curiosity of yours, that is really developing a narrative of what might help you stand out in the college applicant pool. And also understand this: if your school does not have a particular AP class that you really wish they had, understand that you could self-study for any AP course. Khan Academy, brilliant. College Board themselves, wonderful tutorials and videos, all right? And let's not even talk about the books on Amazon that you could go on for days and days on taking practice exams. So you can self-study for any AP exam, and you can go and request that exam to your high school guidance counselor and say, hey, we don't have AP Environmental Science, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to self-study, and I'm going to take that AP Environmental Science exam. And you're paying for it, so they have to honor that, right? I mean, I'm not even saying you have to self-study, but I would certainly recommend that you do, right? So that happens a lot with languages as well. Maybe your school doesn't have that AP language that is offered as a class. But if you self-study, or maybe you really know that particular language well, you go ahead and you take the AP exam, right? So this is extremely important to understand, that you don't have to necessarily have that AP class at your high school to take the AP exam. Understand this as well. A lot of the APs that you want to be taking are going to be prior to your senior year. And the reason for that is because if you're on track to be honored with and earn an AP Scholar, or an AP Scholar with Honors, or AP Scholar with Distinction Award, you want to claim that when you apply senior year. So if you're holding out for that after your AP exams in senior year, no one's going to care. Game over. You're going to know where you're going to college. It's not going to matter whether you get that award or not. So that would also be something to consider as you're doing your schedule. All right. So here is, I guess, my summarization is that it's going to take planning. CCP is not going to be viewed as rigorously as an AP class, but if you are a poor test taker, then still get the GPA bump and do your CCPs and not your APs. Take at least 50% plus of the APs offered at your school, and try to get those 5 APs in, one of them being reflection of what really does interest you and what's that little caveat of interest in your profile that you can highlight. Okay, so I hope this covers everything, and I'm sure I forgot something, like I always forget something. So anyway, that's all I've got. I'm almost home. It's a beautiful sunny day and 52 degrees, and I know we still have snowstorms coming, but that's okay. I'm going to enjoy today. All right. Thanks for being here. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Office Hours on Wheels with Lilly Slater. If this helped you, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more college admissions insights. If you have a question or topic you'd like addressed, go to www.collegedriven.com and click the email link in the sidebar. I'll see you in the next drive.